Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome to another episode of Ryan and Rodrigo. And today we are going to try something kind of ambitious. We are talking about the impossible class. We are going to be trying to talk about some things in English that, first of all, we should never talk about. These are our topics that are impossible to teach, things that native speakers like me, we use them every day. We think that they're normal and we never think about them. But for even super advanced, super fluent people like Rodrigo, they can be completely confusing and weird. And trying to teach them to other people is impossible. We don't even try. And so today we're going to try and probably fail. But it's going to be a fun attempt, and I hope you guys enjoy it just as much as we do. So the first one that we have up here, if switch over,
Just
yeah,
before we begin, I would like to say that I loved preparing for this class because it's just like when you start studying psychology, psychoanalysis, and you start reading about Freud and his theories, and then you read about Carl Jung, and you start reading about your psyche, and you read about the shadow and everything. Then you start doubting yourself, and you start thinking about like, what why did I say that? Why did he say that? What wait, did I do I really want to say that? And how should I how am I how do I sound? And so you start doubting yourself and you start overthinking everything and you get confused about what you do in life and then you get crazy. This is the same. I we started preparing for this impossible class, the topics, and midway we were learning about Russian and forgetting 30 like forgot 30% of the English we learned. Even Ryan. Uh and, and then we're like, oh Jesus Christ. Let's learn Spanish and speak Spanish or Italian. Just something else, not Portuguese or English.
ah,
Uh okay, well, that said, go on please.
ah. No, you're right. Trying to explain some of these things really got me confused. And just like earlier, just before we went online here, I was having some classes with students, and I was really doubting my own English because of the preparation I was doing for this podcast. And I was thinking to myself, do we really do we pronounce things like this, or is that correct? And I was totally lost my own English. So when you get too deep and philosophical about language, then that's what happens to you. And so anyway, our first one is actually not so bad. We're gonna wade in to the deep waters with a simpler one, but it's still something that trying to teach like non-native speakers is just not worth the time. And um, it is vowel pronunciation. And this is something that I think I might have learned either in school or if my mom is watching right now, I think she might be. She might have taught me this when I was learning to read when I was like 3 years old. Um, but it is, if you look at these words, the big question is why do you say like want with a ah and make with an a? Or see and these, but send. Why do you have these strong vowels and these hard vowels? This or ice, office or moose and lose. Um, and the answer is the other vowels in the word. Okay. If you look here, oh, in my
So,
pictures in the way.
so always reference the first vowel, right? And then the first vowel is the reference. Is
Mm-hmm.
that correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
the these words like make. Let's look at make first. Um, if 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 like the e wasn't there, You would just say Mac, and it would still
Mac and
be a
cheese.
like mac and cheese, right? Yeah. But because that second vowel, the E, is there, it changes the first vowel into a harder vowel. And I am in the way. We'll have to move me. Um, and so you have to look at all of the vowels in the word to try to know how to pronounce it. And this is really different than in Portuguese. Like a totally other universe because in Portuguese, the vowels are just pronounced how
The
they
way they
are.
are.
They never change. You always pronounce a ah forever and
But
always.
maybe with graphic when you have a graphic sign saying that you have to change, but you have the graphic sign
Yeah.
saying that you have to change, right?
Mhm.
Like o. But then you have something showing that
It
you
tells
need
you
to
what to
change
do.
it. Exactly.
Yeah. You don't have to interpret and
No.
and and figure it out from the rest of the letters. Um, and here, um, it says if there are multiple vowels together or with only one consonant separating them. So, like here, ice, which is different than is. Okay, because there's that extra vowel there, you say the I sound, ice. Or this. There's only the one vowel, I, so it's this. Okay, and I realized that a really good uh, uh, it. This is a really good example, and I should have put it in the thing, but I forgot. Yeah, like that. Kit versus kite. This is a very good example, and I should have put it in the PowerPoint, but I wasn't thinking. But you can see exactly what I'm talking about here, right? Because it's the only vowel is I, and the soft sound for the vowels are like A is ah, I, for E, O is ah, and U is but then they get changed to their hard sound A or E or E or for I and E, and then O and oo. Yeah,
Or you.
yeah. And so this one is not so complicated, but it's definitely something that people have difficulty like with pronouncing. I've noticed.
Yeah, and it's we called it impossible. We how can I say, we considered impossible because this is not so difficult. If you explain, you'll understand, but it's kind of useless when you're learning how to speak as a second language learner.
Mm-hmm.
It's not useless, of course, not at all, but it's depending on how long you have, depending on your goals. If you're not learning to be a teacher, if you're just learning to talk to people at work, if you're learning for business matters, if you're learning, then this gets too heavy, it's better to just learn the words the way they are and not actually think about this. And it's very hard to teach, um, because most people have very practical objectives, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think my mom just commented here on Facebook, and she said that probably I learned this because we read a lot together. When I was really young, when I was 3, 4, 5 years old, we would read a lot of books together out loud,
Hmm.
and this is probably how I learned, and how probably most native speakers learn how to pronounce things. We don't learn this rule as a
Yes,
rule.
yes, exactly.
We just learn it by practicing over and over and over and over, and then the idea kind of just gets into our head as a second nature kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's exactly what the communicative approach uh, tells us to do, to teach what Maya taught us, to teach intuitively. Okay, so just to make it natural, to use it, to practice. So this rule exists,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just not used because American people usually don't learn about the rule. Maybe you hear, oh, there's a rule. Okay, but sure. And we don't learn about this either here in Brazil when we're studying English. I learned it when I was studying translation in university because I need to pay attention to that when I'm translating either a book or when I'm interpreting somebody that's speaking. So I need to pay attention to that. Uh, but this is not something that is really in a class, uh, in a regular class for people that are learning to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. The next one is something that's a little bit more useful, I would say, something that is actually worth learning, but is probably more difficult to learn. it's it's something that you could learn. It's not impossible to learn, but it would take you so much effort that it's probably not worth your time. And it's the
But
adjective word order. So if we look at these examples, okay, we see that the correct way to describe something, like we have here, is an old political idea, a green wine bottle, or an old green wine bottle. And these other orders that you might think of putting the words in are completely wrong. And not say a political old idea. Not possible. And the reason for that is that you always want to put the description of something first. Um, and so it's kind of different. It's opposite actually of Portuguese, where you put the noun and the adjective order is switched, right? So this one, the first part, is not so complicated, but then when you start adding to it, it begins to build up, right? So far, I don't think students have problems with this. Would you agree?
I agree, and I also want to say that again, all these topics are considered impossible because they're not practical to be taught. They are to be learned. They are to be practiced, and then just intuitively or naturally, just how can I say? I forgot the word you said. Just they become familiar, and then you just start. Uh, wh- I learned this by using it, by practicing. When I started teaching, I had to learn why I said what I said. Then I said, "Oh, okay, so that's why." Uh, so, um, but this one is not so difficult. This one is
No.
actually it's
This,
possible
but
to
this is
understand.
the first step. You
Yeah,
have to get this step right because then the next step um, is that if you have a bunch of adjectives together, they have to go in the right order. So you see here we have an old green wine bottle. Well, you can't say a green old wine bottle because look, the order that adjectives have to go in is first size, then age, then shape, then color, then origin, and then material. And so here we have age before color.
and
Age is
for somebody that doesn't for a student that's a basic or pre-intermediate and doesn't have enough contact with English to say, for example, cotton bee cray sweater, it doesn't sound weird because he's not exposed to English. So just why can't I say that? To say, for example, I have a car red, which is the Portuguese form. It's not strange for them because they haven't been exposed enough to English. But to us, because we've to you especially because you've spoken English your whole life, then you listen to it and you like cotton big gray sweater. No, that doesn't sound right. You don't.
Yeah,
It just sounds completely off.
exactly. But like when I started teaching, I could not think of the reason why that was
Yeah.
wrong. There, in my brain, there's no reason why you can't say a cotton big
It's
gray
just the
sweater.
way it is, right?
Yeah. And I actually had to go look up in a grammar book that there is a rule that says if you want to describe something with a lot of adjectives, you have to say first the size, then the age, then the shape, then the color, then the origin, then the material. So if you wanted to say all of these things together, first of all, be talking about a very specific thing. But it would be something like a big, old, round, black, German
Leather
leather
jacket,
leather jacket. Yeah. And if you
round.
change, yeah, round. And if you changed the order at all, it's wrong.
It's round because it's mine. Uh,
Yeah, it's round because it's yours. Yeah. But
yeah.
if you
But yeah,
misplace
if you
those
change
words at all, it's
any,
wrong.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just wrong. It just sounds completely
Yeah.
horrible. And to a point, a lot of students ask me, the teacher, like won't they understand? I said, no, no. If you
Maybe.
change, maybe, yeah, maybe if you change one of the adjectives, but if you change the material, for example, that could easily be a noun,
Yeah.
and it's usually a noun working as an adjective, then it gets uh, completely confusing. So you can't just say a a, a big leather old round. That gets all crazy. So
You
uh,
would like be breaking native speakers' brains. They would
exactly,
get very very confused if you said that,
exactly.
and they would lose whatever the rest of what you said was, while they tried to understand what you're doing. Why did you do that?
Yes.
What's going on? I'm very confused. Yeah.
And yeah, this is weird. When you hear when you listen to that, it's weird. Okay.
Um, and the next is that, so if you figure out the adjective word order, right, and you got that down, well, the next thing that you have to do is if you want to give your opinion on something. So yeah, you've got a big old round black German leather jacket. Okay, well, if you want to say that it's nice, it's cool, like it, that has to go first
Before everything.
before everything else. You cannot give a opinion about something in the middle of its description or at the end or wherever. It has to come first. It's
Okay.
like these examples here. You have a wonderful old house, a silly fat cat, and a favorite Italian restaurant. You cannot put opinions about things in the middle of a description.
Yeah, it would be very weird to say, "I this is my Italian favorite restaurant." Say what? What? Why did you say, why did you say it like that? So sometimes this is also something people should understand. Sometimes American people they will do that
On
on purpose
purpose.
when they want to be funny or when they want to I don't know be sarcastic or
Hmm.
which is funny. So this is an old wonderful house. This one not really, but this is my Italian favorite restaurant. You can do
Yeah.
something different, right?
Uh huh. Or like if you said this is an old, wonderful house, then it's almost like wonderful is not an opinion.
Okay.
Okay, you've kind of hacked the language
Hmm.
to redefine wonderful as a quality instead of an opinion,
Okay.
and you're cheating. You're cheating a little bit with language. but you
It's totally
can.
possible. Yeah.
Yeah, you really shouldn't do that, but you
Yeah.
can.
You should only do that if you master the language, if you're native, if your level is native, uh, and if you're smart.
Yeah.
Because if you're not, you just sound weird.
And you have to be very, very sure of what you're doing.
Yes, exactly.
If you have even a percent of, is this correct? Everyone knows that you're wrong. You have to be 110% sure that you're doing it correctly. Yeah. Um, and then, if you do all of that correctly, okay, there's one more rule which actually doesn't follow the previous rule.
Yeah, why? Because why not, right?
Because it's English and rules are for suckers. And this rule is that numbers go in front of everything else. Even though numbers are not opinions, numbers go before opinions.
Okay.
Okay? So numbers always go at the beginning. And so you have 7 stupid American tourists. Which, I admit, is wrong. But it's not, it's right.
So it's just different. It's just it doesn't follow the rule, right?
Yeah,
That
it does, because it's a rule. But it doesn't follow the previous rules.
yeah.
It's its own thing, its own rule.
Okay. Why
Uh,
not? Again, right?
yeah, sure. You can do whatever you want in English as long as you're very bold.
You
Um,
mean like Fabio?
what about him?
Bold. Oh, you said bold, not bald.
Ah, yes.
Okay.
Bold and bald. Yeah, which takes us to your thing. You were going to talk about something that even I was afraid of talking about. I had no interest in explaining this thing, so I
You
made
don't want
Rodrigo do
to.
it.
You don't want to say the name. You're
Yeah,
gonna talk about something.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Say the
Rodrigo's
name.
going to do it. Oblaut reduplication.
Ablaut.
Let's make a hit song all about Oblaut reduplication.
First time I heard about Ablaut, and this was the origins. This was that's the reason why we started thinking about this impossible class.
Hmm.
But the first time I thought about Ablaut, I heard the word Ablaut. I thought of oblong. What is
Hmm.
there's a word, right?
Oblong. It's kind of like a
Yeah.
misshapen object.
Okay, there's a cartoon oblong, dark humor. It's really cool. But Ablaut is this is this that that's actually the impossible thing.
And I made you do it
Because
because I had no desire to mess with my brain. So I let
exactly.
Rodrigo do
So
it.
an Ablaut is a process of vowel gradation. Okay, a change in vowel. It's a process in which vowel changes to convey a grammatical message, a different grammatical message. So, for example, the verb sing. In the past, you change the vowel and it's sang. Sang. So, sing, the letter I, the vowel I represents or conveys the message of present. The vowel A conveys the message of past. Sing, sang, sung. Okay. So this is an ablaut.
So this is
And but
like,
we
oh,
yeah,
sorry, I was just gonna say this is like all of the irregular verbs are
exactly.
are
The
oblaut.
exactly the irregular most of the irregular verbs they go through that process. Like for example, cut or put don't
Not
because
not yeah.
not that
Okay.
specifically, but most okay. And if you and that's nice because if you students sometimes they notice a pattern. So, for example, get, got, gotten. or get, got if you're British, and thank God we're not. So because I never meant to say lorry. I
No,
so
no, no.
uh,
And
I'm
and
talking about a
lift,
truck.
lift is a verb. It's not
Uh,
a thing. Come
exactly.
on, British people.
Perfect. Perfectly put. Perfect. So, sing, sang, sung, and students sometimes they notice a pattern: get, got, gotten, and then you have verbs that come from get, and then begat or forget.
Begot.
Yeah, begot, begotten, forget, forgot, forgotten. So you say, so there's a pattern, and that's perfect. Um, and then what we saw at first was actually ablaut reduplication. Okay, that is something very, very natural, very practical that should never be discussed in theoretical in a theoretical manner. It should never be explained, or it just it's just so practical. For example, there's nothing more practical than ping pong, playing ping pong.
Mm-hmm.
It's table tennis.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Brazil, we call it table tennis. Ping pong. There's nothing more practical than wearing a flip flop,
Sure.
uh, because it's just
But so is there a rule why it's not a flop flip or a pong ping?
apparently, yes, there is a rule.
Uh,
So, uh, ablaut reduplications, they have to follow a pattern. Okay, if there's two words like ping pong, flip flop, chit chat, what else? Give me other examples.
uh,
Ping pong,
I'm thinking of but that's not exactly the same.
mishmash.
Mishmash. Yeah.
Okay, so many tater totter,
Tater tot.
tater tots. Okay, uh, and so man, all of these words.
And they do
Uh,
seem to follow the same pattern as the like irregular verbs going from
yeah,
the
huh,
present to
yes,
the past.
yes, exactly. So these words are doubled, and when you have that's why it's called ablaut reduplication, because you have the same word, okay, connected, usually connected by usually hyphenated, and the second word you change the vowel, and it's usually the order is I, always the first, the second, uh, the second should be A, and if there's three, it should be I-A-O. Okay, and if there's only two, well, yeah, but the first is always I, uh,
Like
and
this. IAO. Like this, right?
let me see exactly I-A-O. Uh, so I-A, yeah, that is. I was just checking to see if
So
I
that's
didn't
why it
screw up.
goes like ping pong or
Ping
mish
pong.
mash
Yes,
or
exactly,
tater
exactly.
tot.
Yes, and there's no how can I say? There's no obligation. It doesn't have to be I-A. It could be I-O,
Right,
but
like
always I,
ping pong.
or mishmash. Yeah, exactly. But
But it
it's
can
always the
be
first.
it could be like tater tot. It could be A to O.
Yes, yes. It could be A to O. Okay.
Yeah.
But never O to A, O to I.
It never
You have
goes
to
the other
follow.
direction. It never
No,
goes
no, no,
backwards.
no, no, no. Never goes backwards. Okay. So this is an about reduplication. Is the process of changing a vowel in the second word when it's reduplicated uh, to have something different, to have a specific effect. Okay, uh, and that's the ultimate impossible
Yeah.
class,
That
because
is
this is something, as I said in the beginning, this is something strictly practical. This
yeah.
is you don't try to theorize mishmash. well, this is a mishmash of, you don't try to theorize, ping pong, or chit chat. You just say it, right?
Hmm.
Uh, so I guess, oh, there's much more that I learned about this, but it starts to spiral out. Uh, but yeah, there's other things regarding about reduplication, right?
Hmm. Um,
Other examples, other aspects, right?
like what? How deep do you want to go about this?
No, no, no. I mean, other native examples, the
Oh,
ones you have, that we have listed.
yeah, there are. I can't think of them right now, but there are probably lots of them. But the thing that really interested me about this was what you brought up about it, how it's like the same pattern as irregular vowels. Which, when I teach irregular vowels, I tend to just tell students memorize it.
Yeah, because it's
But it's interesting that there's actually a pattern, right?
yeah, but if you stop to teach the pattern, then you
No,
create another subject to teach.
no. I'm not saying that we should teach it as a pattern, but
Yeah, okay,
I am saying that
there is.
there is one,
Yeah.
and that's fascinating. That like for years, for 10 years now, I've been teaching irregular verbs and just telling students, there's no way to learn all of them. Just memorize all. There must be hundreds of them. Memorize all the hundreds of irregular verbs. But really, like, you could just learn the pattern. You could learn that things go from I to A to O.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But
But
does it?
but then
Because
but then no, yeah, yeah, because you have sing sing sung. But then
it must only
how?
work. It must only work with the hard vowel sounds, right? Because you have a verb like do, and that goes the other direction. So the oo
Did.
sound
Hmm.
must be somewhere else on here, right? Ooh,
Yes.
ooh must be back here,
Yeah, I don't even know if it's there, but yeah, if
right?
if it is somewhere, it should be there. And uh, but then the problem is how am I to know if if a verb is irregular in the first place?
Yeah.
So I would have to first know that this is an irregular verb, and then oh, okay, if it's an irregular verb, there's an I and then ng, two vowels, so this is a soft sound, and then sing. So so it's sang sung. So what about fit? Oh no, not fit. Fit to
Yeah.
fit. So learning the pattern. There is a pattern, and it's interesting, but I think it's just to know. It's just something we should know. It's just something to find it interesting. Like, oh, nice. Ah, so there is a pattern. Somebody thought about it when
Yeah.
coming up with English, like the Englishman
Yeah.
that Englished English. They they did that. So
um,
um,
and something about this that I was thinking about also was I was a while ago I listened to a big podcast about the history of English, and on there they talk about how the sounds that we use to pronounce things change over time. So if you like get in a time machine and go back 500 years, English sounds different naturally,
yeah.
right? But the way that languages progress is very predictable. It's not random. And if I remember correctly from the podcast, um, languages all over the world, English, French, Japanese, all languages tend to progress like this, like ablaut. So over time, people tend to change the sounds of words in the same way that ablaut progresses,
Hmm.
which is
uh, in
also
that order,
interesting.
I A O.
Yeah, but I think it's the same order, which is very interesting. So it's not like somebody sat down with a book and said this is how it will be. It's just the way that humans want to make sounds.
Yeah, I think there's a natural I don't think there is there are natural sounds. There are sounds that are more, how can I say, they're organized in a more natural way. There are more natural orders that our throats can sound, you know. So it's just if there's a, how can I say, we have opposable thumbs, and it's something that came with evolution. This also, speech changed, and speech is affected by that, and that is affected by speech also. So um, but we're getting
Getting philosophical.
scientifical, actually.
Nice. So were there any other? These were the three topics that we wanted to talk about. Possible. Were
Yeah,
there
yeah,
any
the other,
other?
the ones I mentioned were itsy bitsy, and then schmuck, not schmuck,
But
like
but itsy bitsy is a different thing because that's not exactly this, right?
no, no, it's not about. I just wanted to mention because it's a very native. It's a native
Exactly. It's a
city
whole other
thing.
thing. Yeah, it's a silly native thing that we do, where we change the beginning of the word to be silly. I don't even know what it's for. Itsy bitsy and teeny weeny,
Yeah.
right? Um, we do like these sorts of things to be more expressive, and I don't know how to explain that.
One thing. No, yeah, no. It's just something. Uh, there's probably a pattern and explanation too, but because if there wasn't, people came up with something. So, um, but something I really like about how you change your words is like how stomach became tummy, or tum tums, uh, and for kids, of course, uh, or behind became tushy, right? Is that the word? Uh, like, I like words that are used for children. Uh, do you remember other examples?
Yeah, there's one with like you can it's another reduplication one where you say the word again but change it a little bit with a sh sound at the beginning. So like you can say I'm trying to write it here, and you can either do like business schmizness. Uh,
Anything, anything, like uh, Ryan Schmai. I know, no, that's stupid. But
ah, like this. If you put SHM at the beginning of a word and then you repeat it, business is like dismissive. And you can do it for any idea ever. You can be like chair schmear. To be like that
and
chair's
it's
dumb.
this is a polite way of saying, for example, business my ass,
Yeah,
right? Like
exactly.
business. Uh, like, what are you talking about, man? No, no, this is not business, okay? Like a specific situation in which you're just talking and being, and someone is being impolite to you, and you say, "What are you talking about?" I said, "No, man, we're just doing business." You say, business," or just business my ass, man. Just get out. We're not doing business. You just, so when you want to be dismissive, when you want to just invalidate the
Yeah,
other person's argument, right? Uh, that's I like that very much. That, I won't say that now. I will ask you what I thought about what I thought after the class, because it might sound, I don't know. It's just a weird idea I had.
yeah. You can
People
use
never know.
it like here. I could say
Uh, don't do that.
Rodrigo
Rodrigo.
Rodrigo
Yeah.
like this. And like knowing exactly how to use it is very native. Because I can say, like, yeah, put an sh in front of the word and then use it. But knowing, like, yeah, you got to get rid of the r and then
Mm-hmm.
say schmod rigo is, you got to
Like
know
you
exactly
get
where
rid
to put it.
you get rid of the first consonants, and then
Yeah.
like Ryan Schmeyen, or I don't know, is your mom watching? I can say Brenda Schmanda,
Yeah, she's
or
there. Maybe she'll give a
Andrew Schmandrew. So you just have to get rid
yes.
of the consonants,
Get rid of the
okay?
consonant. But if it's a vowel at the beginning, you just add sh.
Leave it
M.
on. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's just like the present simple with the s, and it's just like when you double the consonant, the consonant vowel consonant thing. We just found a rule. So
Hey,
get rid of the consonants at the beginning and just be happy with SCHM.
there, you can talk like a native today.
Yeah. So we can even sell that course. Speak like a native today. And then we just sell that rule. Yeah.
15
English,
minutes.
English. Yeah.
English Schminglish. Yeah. The English
That's
Schminglish
amazing.
course.
Yes. Okay, being dismissive to English from the get-go. English, me English. Great. That's amazing. Oh, there was something else that's very native that I wanted to say, but I forgot. Jesus Christ. Okay. Oh, but there's too many examples of nativeness, of Americanness, of you guys love doing that. You love adding
Oh,
things.
so at the end of a word, you can add ish,
Oh, yeah. To
right?
say like kind of, right?
To say like kind of, right? But you can't use it all the time, right?
No, because it's just there's no point.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, but I mean, like, I couldn't say, yeah, it was like today was rainy-ish. I guess I could say that, but it sounds weird to
Man,
me.
do you think that that British came from that? Like there were the Brits and they were real real
Yeah,
strong
it
people,
could
and
have.
then no, those are British,
Yeah, they're Brit-ish.
and they
They're kind of Britty.
yeah,
Yeah.
so they just became the people. Oh, the British people. Okay, okay.
Because the Brits were a people,
Yeah, I
so
know. Yeah, that's why.
that's a
Uh,
good one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the people for
Um,
'cause
um, there was another one, but like the thing is, and we talked about this when we were talking about
I
the
think it's the
class.
Y at the end of
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
class, in
But
the end of the word.
um, but about the ish thing, this one is not really like translatable exactly, right? The ish, because you could say it's like if we said, let's think of a good example. Um,
Yellowish,
Yellowish, sure, yeah,
meio amarelo,
but
kind of
it's
yellow,
not.
but
That's not
uh-uh,
the same thing.
no, because it's like, for example, bluish. There's a
Yeah.
kind of green that is bluish, that is that confuses people. Some people don't know if it's green or blue. So this is a green that is bluish, but
Huh?
it's not kind of blue. It's uh, oh, I thought it was. I thought you spelled like blue
Let's
ish,
check. I am
something like
actually
that.
not sure. That's a good question. Who?
I thought it was like BLUE hyphen ISH.
No, it's a word. No, it's like this. Bluish. There's no hyphen.
Okay.
And I think it's true for everything.
Yellowish.
Oh. It says no, you can use with a hyphen or not. But some words are actually words. Like bluish is in the dictionary as a word. But like hungry-ish is not.
But I can see why the hyphen because it ends in y
Yeah, I guess.
in
So
that
like
case.
bluish is a word, but this need a hyphen
Okay.
for some reason. And like you cannot translate either of these to male.
No, not really. Not really. You
Not
can't.
really.
If you have to translate a book, maybe
Yeah.
that's the way to go. But then,
Right.
uh, like you have to translate something. But then, it's just you're adapting, you're adjusting. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not really the same. That's
Could you
why it's
say?
so. Yeah.
Could you say like a little, like un poco? That doesn't make sense to me. Pouco. Can, how do you say that in Portuguese? If you're a
Cheap.
little, deep,
But
how do you
all,
even say that? If you're a
tipo
little
or
hungry,
pouco or meio. Eu tô
pouco.
meio. Tô com um pouco de fome. Tô com fome. Eu tô meio. I don't know. I
Yeah,
forgot Portuguese now.
I know. I was just trying to say. I was just trying to think. How would I say I'm a little hungry in Portuguese? I tried to say, pouco. No, that doesn't sound right.
Não, tô começando a ficar com fome. I'm starting to get hungry. I'm getting
Yeah.
hungry. That's how we say it, something like that. But then, and also you used an example that I don't know. I'm always very hungry. I'm not kind of hungry. I'm not hungry-ish. You know, I'm always. I don't know. Is there something to? Is that hungry-ish? Is kind of. Is there something like a termination that means so much hungry? I don't know. No, there's not. I'm joking.
No, I was thinking for a moment. Maybe there is, but I can't think of it.
See, because you're American and you know there's no limits to English and
Ah,
American English.
maybe we should
Yeah.
just invent one right now.
Hungry. Ow, I don't know.
It's hard. And
Yeah.
like in Portuguese, you have the diminutive inho,
Yeah.
which is hard to translate into English sometimes.
That's the Y, right?
Tocanum fominha.
Yeah, yeah. My student just tô com uma fominha. Yeah, I'm kind of. Yes. Tô com uma fominha. Hungry-ish. I'm hungry-ish.
There we go.
We can.
No, Ali.
Hungry-licious.
She was
No,
asking
my
about
God.
the big hunger. She's saying a big
Oh,
hunger.
okay, yes. But in Portuguese,
Hungerlicious.
hungerlicious is cool. Yeah, for the big hunger, yeah. I'm hungerlicious. Yes.
But Myra, I think, is right. Tocanum fominha. Uma
Yes,
fominha.
yes.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And it has the inha in Portuguese that I was just saying that is sometimes difficult to translate into English.
Was that the Y?
What?
The Y at the end of the words. Like we were talking when we were preparing this, the E thing. Like, oh my God, I forgot all the examples.
I'm trying to look in the examples.
Something E, and you add a Y.
Oh yeah. So I said, here, I'll give you the example that I said about you. I said that Rodrigo has a very music-y
Yes. Oof.
personality.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, which I think is very true.
Mm-hmm.
But how the hell do you explain that idea?
No, you don't. Yeah. Music key personality. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like
Ryan has a nerd.
nerdy.
Nerdy is a word, right?
But that's a word, so that one works.
But it came from that, I guess. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's nerd and nerdy. Nerdy is not actually nerd. But then it became a whole concept, right?
Right. This is kind of like taking music is a noun, is taking a noun and making it an adjective,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
But musical is the actual adjective, right?
Rodrigo has a musical personality or a music key personality. It's
So what
different.
is the difference?
Um, I think, or what I feel about this, because this is so philosophical that you can only feel. Uh, Music key. It's less than musical.
Is
It it's lighter,
yeah.
maybe. That's how
Yes.
I feel about it. Okay, I would say, yeah, Rodrigo has kind of a musicy personality, or Ryan is no, you're nerd. You're a big,
Big
you're
nerd.
nerdalicious.
They're
You're a
delicious.
nerdalicious. You and Ali are both nerdalicious.
Uh-huh.
Ryan has a musicy personality. Not Ryan.
Yeah.
Ali. Ali has a musicy personality.
So then do
Uh,
you have a musical personality because you're more
maybe because I play instruments and I'm a musician, you can say that I have a musical. No, but a musical personality. It means that my Jesus.
Yeah, because I don't feel this is my feeling. I don't feel like musical fits with personality. I don't feel like
Uh, Having a musical
those
personality, I would say, for someone that is happy and that is uh, not actually
it's
related to
like
music,
it's yeah, well, a musical
a
personality to me,
metaphorical way.
yeah, to me it sounds like a Disney character. A musical
Exactly,
personality. They're
exactly.
like birds are singing around them.
Yeah,
They're so happy.
exactly.
That's a
Yeah.
musical personality. A music-y personality is like, yeah, they like music, they
It's
play
more
guitar.
down to earth, related to
Yeah,
music, right?
I don't know. I
Yeah, it's
can't
less.
explain it.
No, I can't either. So I think this is how it. And if my students still watching, this is how I'm going to teach you, Maida. You just feel it, okay? Just
Gotta feel it. Yeah.
listen to it enough, and we'll talk about it until you feel it. You feel it in your bones, okay? For example, Ryan is so uh, um, skinny. For example, is a skinny can be an example, but Ryan's so lost so much weight that he's kind of bony.
Yeah, but that's also that's an adjective.
Well, it's an adjective, but I think that adjective came from it's true.
Okay, I got
Musically.
another one. I would describe São Paulo as this.
Yeah.
São Paulo. São Paulo is
Uh-huh.
because concrete is not a word, and there's no adjective for concrete that I can think of.
It's probably one, uh, but yeah, this is a perfect example. Concrete. And how do you pronounce it? Concrete?
Concrete,
Concrete?
concretey, very
Okay.
concretey.
That's a horrible word,
Yeah.
but it's a good example. Or for example, we used to do that with names. Remember, that guy is very
Yes.
Fabio E.
Fabio E.
Uh, or we did that sometimes, right?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. You can use it
With
with
names.
names, like somebody is is Arnold here, your bodybuilder
No, no,
guy?
not today.
No,
But
he's
you can I'll send him the link.
yeah, he's very his name is Arnold, but he's very
Yes.
Arnoldy.
Yeah, exactly. That's why his name is not Arnold. His name
No,
is David.
ah,
No,
okay,
he's just he was chosen as the Brazilian Arnold because he was a doppelganger.
yeah,
Not quite, but he was kind of a
close,
doppelganger.
yeah.
Close, yeah. So
So
but he's very Arnoldy.
he's
Very
very
Arnoldy.
Arnoldy.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
think we got carried away, man.
Oh, the end was better than the beginning. We got completely confused trying to explain those ridiculous concepts. But but
uh,
this native these native sillinesses are much easier, I think.
yeah. Uh, they are they are much easier than they look like when we try to explain them, right?
Yeah.
It's if you watch Friends, they use it all the time.
Yeah.
Ish, e, because Friends is mellow e sitcom. It's it's like a soft comedy, and so they use all these Native American New York ish words, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
they all live and a lot of them grew up in New York, but they don't have any accent.
but Seinfeld is more SCHM style. Elaine Schmain,
Yeah,
or George Smore. Seinfeld, they use that a lot.
they do. George Smorge.
Yes, Newman Schmuman. Newman. So okay, that's it's
I think
nice.
those were all of the native
Names.
weirdnesses, right? So just let's just go over the three of them again, and then we'll be done. Okay, just
Hmm.
to remember, there was the SHM one, right? Which we had like you just said like Newman Schwooman
Like Andros Mandro, Brandon
Schmandrew.
Schmanda.
But
Yeah,
this
just
one's weird because
Schmuman.
but
Schmuman.
I feel like I just want to say his name, Newman Schnooman. Newman
Just because M and N are close. But
Yeah,
yeah.
Eminem are close. Yeah. So for this one, if you have anything that you want to make fun of, you can just put SHM at the beginning and like repeat it a lot. So like France Schmance.
Exactly. But just dismiss the thing. Like, yeah.
That's
I
stupid.
love Seinfeld. Oh, I love Friends. Frenchmans. So it's stupid, yeah. You're
Yeah.
dismissive. You too, Mewtwo. Uh, right? Pearl Jam, Schmerl Jam.
Mhm.
That's difficult. That's,
Yeah. Yeah. Could you do
yeah.
Pearl Jam, Schmerl?
Man,
Could you do it
no.
both? Could you do both words or
No.
just the
No,
first?
you do the first. You do the
Okay.
first.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the SHM if you want to dismiss something. The next was ish.
Oh,
Ish.
yeah.
And this one's fun because you put it at the end of a word to say that it's small. It's kind of like inha in Portuguese, but
Hmm.
it's not. It doesn't translate, but it's sort of the same
Yeah,
thing.
it's in between kind of and Inga. Mayu and Inga. It's in between.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Can you think of an example right now?
Uh, oh, I just thought of a word, selfish. Uh,
But that's
yeah.
a whole other thing. That's
Oh,
not even the.
yes, no, bluish. What you said?
Yeah, we
It's
said
like
before.
yeah, about a new one. Uh, oh, I thought of a Y example now, but I'll say it in a second. Um, ish, black. There's a show called Black Ish because it's
Yeah,
a black family, but there's a whole context
yeah.
about it. It's a black family, but uh they don't behave so black, and so it's black ish.
And don't they have
Uh,
some white people in the family? Aren't they kind of
yes,
mixed
yes,
a little bit?
exactly.
So they're black-ish. Yeah.
Yes,
And sometimes when it's kind of like overcast here and rainy, right? I sometimes tell Allie that it's a Seattle-ish
mm-hmm.
day. Reminds me a little bit. Seattle. It's
Yeah.
Seattle-ish. Yeah. Okay. And then the last one is if you put a Y at the end of a word, right? And what was the example that you thought of?
No, but I think it's a word, watery.
Maybe. See what Google says. Yeah, it's a word. Um, uh, you could
Seattle,
you could describe like a
music.
type of video, a type of style as YouTubey.
Yes, yes.
And
Top.
anyone that's online at all should know exactly what I'm talking about. The YouTubey type of style.
Yeah, it's like a video that it's not really that it's well, it's a YouTube style video.
Yeah. It's it's kind of like it has professional parts to it, but it's not professional.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably are like trying to sell podcasts to you,
Yeah,
you know, something like this.
like this one.
Like this one right now. It's very YouTubey, I hope, because we are
Yeah,
on YouTube.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so those are the weird native things, and I don't really feel like going over the beginning of the episode again because that hurt my brain. So
Yes.
if you guys want to check it out, you can watch the episode again on YouTube or Twitch or Facebook or Twitter, all there to check out again. And you should definitely subscribe to all of our channels. Rodrigo is over on Instagram, and here you can see I'm on Twitch, and I have English classes there during the week that you guys can watch, and so go do that. And hopefully, sometime in the future, my Uncle Mickey, for anybody in my family that's watching, is gonna
What's his name?
Mickey.
Mickey, like Mickey.
I think it's just Y. It's like Mickey Mouse.
Okay. Okay. Mickey
Yeah.
Mouse is an E. EY.
It does.
It does.
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if he has an E or not. I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully, we're going to interview Uncle Mickey soon because several reasons. He's really interesting. One, he lives in Alaska now, and I am willing to bet that absolutely no one watching right now has been to Alaska. Maybe if some of my family are watching on Facebook, otherwise, no one. And
I have a friend
yeah,
lived in Alaska for 6 months. It's
all right.
crazy. Like clinically.
Alaska, it's a crazy place.
Yeah.
And he does things like hunt, and he hunts big things like bears and wolves and moose. So we can talk about that. But also, he's traveled to Sao Paulo and India. So I want to ask him about Sao Paulo, about India, and about Alaska, and what his idea is about these places. Since he lives in a city with like 1,000 people, and he's been to Sao Paulo with 20 million, like what the perspective is. So hopefully our next episode we can get Uncle Mickey on, but he's been busy recently, so it's hard.
Now, before we go, Ryan, I don't know. I'm not sure if Maida is still watching, but just I like some help from you.
Hmm.
What do you are you you are aware of the CEFR, right? The levels, A1,
Yes.
A2.
Okay. Yeah. The common European. Yeah. I know.
Exactly, the Common European Framework. Do you think that is a normal thing for a student to have different levels uh, regarding listening and grammar? For example,
Hi,
you
Myra.
have you have listening. Your listening is level, of course, not very different. It's not A1 and then C2, but how frequent is it that a student has different levels? Like listening is B2 and or usually the listening is C1 and the grammar is B2. Uh,
Always.
what do you? Sorry.
It's if it's not happening, it's kind of weird. It's always.
Okay.
That's
And
what I
why
would
do you
say.
think that is?
Because, well, especially with English, but it's very normal with all languages. It's easier to practice listening and reading because all you have to do is go turn on the TV. So the way that you improve language is with time. That's the only way to improve. And if you spend a bunch of time practicing or listening by watching Friends or movies or listening to music, then your listening is going to be great, and your vocabulary should also be decent. So you should be able to listen and read. Um, but you haven't practiced speaking,
Or
so
grammar.
yeah. So your speaking and your writing are going to be terrible. And I can say that all of my students are the same way, and
But
I am the same way in Portuguese.
yeah, yeah.
My
No,
my lis- my listening and my reading are mm, I don't remember. I couldn't say if I'm B2 or maybe C for these things, but they're pretty good. But my speaking might not even be like B1. Like
but even for English, for example, when you arrived in Brazil and you took a test to work at a school, your grammar test,
yeah,
your grammar knowledge was B2, but all the rest was like Z.
yeah.
Uh, Everything else was perfect, but your grammar knowledge was not so good because that's not something American people learn, right?
No.
Uh,
No, could
right.
can't you show her the video with Justin that's on our page where we talk about this?
Yes, yes. I'll send it to her. And
because American people do not study grammar. We don't. We learn it by reading books, by writing, by reading, by talking. Yeah, but actual grammar class just doesn't exist.
and it's not that
Maybe,
people
at
people don't
university.
understand.
Maybe.
People don't understand this never. Like it's not ever, not once. Maybe one day if you have a very specific question about how to write something or your teacher wants to correct you and he calls you in front of the class and he no you don't use this way, this is that.
No, not even
Maybe
that. No,
not even that, yeah.
no. Like the most advanced grammar that we get is like, yeah. So that happened in the past, right? Yeah, yeah. So in the past, you want to use ed. Okay. But teacher, what about like sing? That doesn't. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't. All right, moving on.
Yes, yes, shut up.
That's that is the extent of grammar class.
Yeah, in America and in a school, in a normal, in a regular school, yeah.
Stop
And
asking questions about grammar and read your
yeah,
book. That's
it's
grammar
not
class.
really productive. And something interesting is that there are four skills: speaking, writing, reading, and listening. Two are receptive, two are passive, and two are active. Right?
Hmm.
The passive ones, the ones you receive, it's easy to practice, as you said.
Yeah.
You just have to sit there and read and listen. But the ones you have to produce, the productive ones, you have to speak. You have to find time, people, and opportunities to speak. You have to find patience, interest to write something. So these two abilities will always be lower than the other two, right?
Yeah. And I would say for every student I've ever had, the writing never catches up because students don't put in the time to practice writing.
And in America,
It's
you
not that
guys,
writing is more difficult. It's not it.
no,
It's
no,
that
and
students
also
don't
this
practice it.
is this is the background. This is an educational thing. In America, you write a lot.
Yeah.
In America, instead of having grammar classes, instead of having grammar lessons, you learn by writing. You learn by practicing. In Brazil, we never write. We barely write. Even in the best schools, we write very little. In America, I remember John, I think your friend, right?
Yeah.
He told us
John
that
John
every
McCartney. Yeah.
class, he was explaining that every class he will start the class and ask people to write something. Then write something for yourself, then get into a pair, and then rewrite it, and then get into a four uh, group, and then rewrite it and hand in the final version.
Yeah.
And
But that
we do
was
that
like
twice a month in Brazil?
So that's a language arts class. That's
Yes.
like an English class, but take out all of the grammar and add writing. Okay.
Okay.
But this is also true for every other subject. Not math,
History, geography,
probably.
history, geography, right? All the
Yeah.
humanities.
All the humanities is mostly writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting to see, for example, in university, the teacher, he, of course, I know it's not every class, but guys, so next class, read pages 100 to 120 for next class. Then people arrive there and they have and write something about it. I don't know, and that's it, right? There's a there's a speech, there's a lecture, but mostly the student does the heavy job, the heavy work, right?
Yeah.
The
So at my university, it was a little smaller. They have big universities that I guess are closer to the Brazilian experience of having a lecture every day, and that's class. But my university was smaller, and it's also common. People choose which type of university to go to, and I was at a smaller one. And the first year was a lot of lectures, but then the next 3 years was small classes with less than 15 people, and 70% of the classes were discussions. And so the homework every day was to go read something and write something. And then we had to come to class and discuss what we read and what we wrote. And then
did you have a participation grade mark?
sometimes, but it wasn't very much. The participation grade was usually not a big deal. But if you didn't participate, then you would never be able to do like the
Final
call it
exam.
a TCC here.
Uh huh.
You would have a final paper at the end that was based on all of your discussions.
Okay.
And a lot of classes didn't even have exams. We just had papers that we had to write every month or every 2 months, and then a thesis, a final paper at the end. No tests. It wasn't even required to go to class. If you could write the paper at the end of the term, yeah, then fine, don't go to class. Whatever.
Yeah. So this is very different. Here in Brazil, we don't write. We're not used to writing. Uh, People at good schools write a bit more often and read a bit more often, but usually we just don't write. When I have to prepare a student for SATs, for the SATs or TOEFL, I have to teach them how to structure a composition, an essay. So I have to teach them the paragraph structure. I have to teach them how to structure a paragraph and how to make a topic sentence and how to make supporting sentences. And I have to explain to them that to support their topic sentence, they have to use examples. And what do you mean examples? So examples, you have to, how are you going to support your topic sentence? You said Neymar is the best player in the world. Like the reader just has to trust you. No, you have to use real examples. Like you have to facts and examples. So we have to explain that to students when they're 17, 18. uh, Most adults don't know anything about it. So it's and when you learn how to write well, your speaking improves a lot because you learn how to argument, you learn how to make a point, to organize your speech, you learn a lot of vocabulary. So writing is amazing. um, Very important. I got carried away now, sorry.
Whatever. Yeah. So I think that's it today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So, I'll just say again to follow us and subscribe everywhere, and look for our next episode, hopefully with Mickey from Alaska. And we'll see all you guys then. Thanks for watching, everybody. I was watching on Facebook. Thanks for everybody
Thank
watching
you.
there.
Brenda, I know she's watching probably.
Definitely watching. Thanks, Myra,
Maya
for commenting, and Ali, and
participating.
everybody else that watched.
All of
And
our viewers all around the globe.
right, we
Right.
have global reach,
Exactly. So,
and we'll see you next time. So, thanks,
thank you.
guys. Till next time.